The 100 ISO, I'm assuming, bearing in mind that the flash is twice as powerful, so you'll probably find it needs to be a lot higher. So let's just tilt this down.
Because you were at 400, weren't you, with this?
We were originally, yes. Let's just give it a go and see what sort of response we get. We're going to have a look at this beauty dish, because these are really cool. So, speed lights. Okay, so we'll go right back. So people call them strobes, they call flashes, speed lights. This is speed light because it's got speed light written on it, because it's the Canon name. It's as simple as that, fits to your camera. This is a strobe because it flashes and it strobes. This is a flash because it flashes. That's a strobe because it strobes. That's a flash because it flashes. Pete, there's so many different names. It can all get a little bit confusing. But fundamentally, they're all the same. They all do the same thing. They'll create a powerful light. They all do the same thing. And you can get adapters for these, fit into softboxes and burners. It depends on what sort of stuff you're going to do. As you know, the weddings that we've got a prototype website, you can get loads of different stuff for that. The A1 you've got, which is a brilliant bit of kit. What do you find with a round head over a square head? Because the A1's, that one's square, it's a round.
So I used to have the Canon Speedlight 430 or something like that, and I just didn't like it as much. I much prefer the circular head.
You find it gives a softer, like a more natural light?
Yeah, I think it's really nice.
The rounder heads give a more natural light. It's meant to be, because you think about the shape of the sun, it's round, isn't it? So when you're talking about modifiers and diffusers, when you're outside, it's like it has been some nice weather, it's really, really sunny. You put your hand down, there's loads of shadows, isn't there? Then a piece of cloud comes on and covers the sun. It gets a bit darker, but everything's softer, isn't it? You know what I mean? So being a wedding photographer outside doing that, natural light portraits, you potentially want some cloud, because it will give you a nice finish. Right, so any other volunteer, or should we use this lady? Any volunteers?
I'm really great.
Okay, so we're going to leave that 5/6, 100th of a second. No diffusion really, just using the silver reflectors built in. It's alright, take 2, it's fine, not charging. So look, if you look, there's not a massive difference between the two. If you just look at the background. So put this on again.
That goes on very front.
Goes on the very, very front. Okay. So you can use a single diffuser, like just and a grid if you want to. But this will give, we talked about moody portraits, this gives a very direct light with very little drop off. So what we want to look at is the background. So if you are doing individual portraits and you want to make it look really quite sort of dramatic, great way of doing it. And the aperture down, letting more light in from other surroundings.
Okay.
That's why you want to take it up. If you want that look, that's different.
So it's allowing that to control the light coming out from there more.
Exactly. And then it was 100 ISO. And the 100 ISO, I'm assuming, bearing in mind that the flash is twice as powerful, so you'll probably find it needs to be a lot higher. So let's just tilt this down.
Because you were at 400, weren't you, with this?
We were originally, yes. Let's just give it a go and see what sort of response we get. And it's got an umbrella mount as well, so you can apply it on it. But again, these are a bit more expensive, depending on what you want to do.
How much is more expensive?
About £180 for one, whereas the kits are about 160 for 2. These will last you a bit longer because LEDs, the bulbs don't go. But I would, when it comes to using certain things like snoots, the snoot we use, you can use it on this, and yes, it'll fit. It'll get very hot very quickly. Okay, so it's a nice round shape, and we can triple diffuse it, so we can show you what that looks like, depending on how you put it together. But you can put it together, so it's landscape if you want to. So if you want wider, shorter light, so if you're doing for your just a few, do them upright. But if you're doing a wider group shot or group of things, small one because I had to take it on the trays. Okay, but you can diffuse this in loads of different ways. Okay, so you've got an outer diffuser, you've got an inner diffuser, you've got, I don't know what this is. So what this does is this really eradicates. You know how we had the photograph? We still managed to pick the background up. With that same image, we have this on. You'd be on a black background, because it really focuses the light, stops the drop off. And, luckily we can use this on both this and we can use it on the LED as well, so we can show the differences between them. And we'll see if that just brings it in. And it's not quite, for me, I never go off the camera, it's a little bit hot, isn't it? It's a little bit overexposed. Okay, so once you get these basic settings in your head and you know what the difference between the two needs to be, well, there, Then you can use that. Front light is half a stop more powerful than the light at the back. So yeah, we can put that set on at 5.6, let's say, 120, good ISO. So what do you say about that exposure there? Guys, if you want to get a bit closer, by all means, don't be shy. This is our main light, so do you think the main light could do with being on the other side? We swap them over. Right,
it's
exactly.
that funny shadow on the black, on the blue head.
On the blue head. Now, whenever you're photographing a number of things, you're always going to find... Well,
got half the reflector in it.
Okay, let's go again, let's go again. So where do you reckon? About there? It's got the reflector in it.
Yeah, the reflector's out there.
Yeah?
Right.
Okay, so has that got... Let's pop that down. So has that got rid of that shadow?
Got rid.
Okay, so you want to hold that, I reckon. Where do you reckon? Where do you bring that in? Now, what's that doing there? So what's that doing to the shadow there? Soften that shadow a lot, isn't it? What you can do on some of these, like if you're talking about lighting, table's still live, you can get a table you can shoot through. It's quite nice, isn't it? It's simple, isn't it? It's a little, there is camera shake because spend £150 on a trigger, or just put it on the 2-second delay so the camera's got time to settle before you take the photograph. But we are already at, we're at f8, ISO is 100. You can adjust that. You can put the ISO up, which will allow you faster shutter speed. Because you're not going to get any pixel damage at 4, 6, 800 ISO. You'll be fine. You're shooting, take everyone shooting camera raw. No one's shooting JPEG or TIFF or anything like that. Yeah. So you can easily change the white balance afterwards. Okay, so now we're going to do something similar, but we're going to use flash. We're going to use some modifiers. The disadvantage to these are the only modifiers you can get for it. You can't get umbrellas, you can't get snoops, but they are fantastic. They do everything you need to do. Some people have been known to take all the diffusers out. They run cold or coldish. I won't put your face on it or anything. But you only get one, but you don't get anything else with it. But your studio you're talking about, you've got something that will run for a while. You know, something that's going to allow you to do sort of multiple photographs of lots of people.
So you're happy with that they would actually compete with a flash?